Dari, hello. It's a report on day 3 of our wonderful Club Placenta holiday. I just thought I'd run through one of the couple of things that we've been doing that have made me basically totally exhausted. Now, I've said to my friend Sue, who's visiting with us, that you're not to book too many activities on the first couple of days because otherwise you just end up exhausting yourself by about day 3. But I've managed to outdo myself because I obviously booked too many activities and I'm now totally exhausted, and we're only on day number 2. Or day number 3, including the travelling, but two days of actual exercise. So what have I been doing to actually get me to such a state? Well, we started off at 8 in the morning with the traditional 15-minute exercise, which I managed quite easily. And then we went on a 5k run around the site and just into the local environs. And it was actually quite exciting because just before the run started, a guy who I now remember as Pete said to me, didn't you used to work for IBM? And I said, oh yeah, about 40 years ago. And it turns out that we were on the same initial stream together, and he'd recognised me but couldn't remember my name. And so we had a bit of a 30-plus-year-old catch-up as we ran around, trailing everyone else a little bit because we were so actively engaged in talking to each other. And it turns out he's actually bought a timeshare here and he's thinking about buying a second one. So we had lots to talk about, not just a 30-year catch-up as to, people we had known. But yeah, it's been absolutely fantastic. Quite made my day and probably the whole stay here. So we've exchanged contact details, and I shall be in touch, no doubt. So that was very nice. We did the 5k run, and then my partner had booked something called 6D sliding. And what it is, it's a 6-sided felt-backed slippy tile, of which there are 2, and you put either your hands or your bum or your legs or your knees or your feet on them, and there's different exercises you can do with the 6D tile. So that was just a sort of a one-off. What is this booking? And we did it, and I think it was interesting for the 30 plus minutes we did it, but I don't think we're going to do a second 6D sliding course. And then we were both booked into functional training, but my partner decided, well, it was a bit much, and she started off with a warm-up, and after the warm-up, which was a run around the 400-metre track, and then some dumbbelling, she went, oh, it's too much. So she's probably right. I stuck it out, and it was quite grueling. Luckily, there was some running involved, so that I was actually slower than most other people doing the dumbbell work. But I think it's because I was actually doing the number of reps that was on the board. We started off with 30, then 20, then 15, etc. And I swear everybody else was doing a lot less in numbers, unless they were sort of like double counting in some weird way. So I would sort of lag behind, and then we'd go for the 400-metre run between the sets. I'd slightly catch up a few people, and then, I'd lose position again. Anyway, so I finished that, and I was pretty tired. I thought, what can I do now? Well, we had about an hour or two, and we moved the swim session, advanced it by 1 hour. So we both my partner and I went for a swim, and we did just over the 1k. We normally think that doing a 1k swim is about enough. And I was a bit grumpy because somebody was in my lane, and I think that most people don't book the swim lanes. And it turned out later that you can book the same lane. I didn't notice this. I was thinking, I was going to tell him, he's in my lane. So I had to go in. I went into a different lane, which was completely empty, in the heated Olympic-sized pool. And it turns out that you can have up to 6 people in one lane. So I was luckily I didn't speak to him, because he might have known that. Went, well, you're going to have up to 6 people in this lane. So I just went to a free lane. So anyway, we did our 1k each. I think I did a bit over. I think I did 1,200 metres or 1,300 metres. I thought that's enough for me. And by this point, I was pretty flopped. But then my partner booked us onto another sort of weird activity that we'd seen on a previous year that we were here, whereby people were sort of jumping on mini trampolines So you've got like a tiny little trampoline in a sort of like hexagonal shape or something like that. And it's got a metal riser and like a handlebar. So you can imagine you can hold onto those handlebars. You can sort of jump up and down on the trampoline. And so that's what we were doing for about half an hour. And it turns out it's quite a good exercise. You can do things like you can do sit-ups and press-ups, and you can do the jumping. And she had like a default jumping action, which was just to put your hands together and then jump down, and then put your hands together and then jump down. And those other things you could do, like, jump and turn, a bit like those dance games you had on the PlayStation years ago. We had one in about 1999, I think. So a bit like that. And we really enjoyed it. But again, I was getting tighter and tighter and tighter. So the last activity today was going to be stretch. And I decided, oh, that was too easy. Even though I was pretty tired, I thought I'd go track running. Now, at this point in the afternoon, it's about 4 o'clock, and it was pretty sunny. And I was sharing the track with a load of quite fit, athletically fit women who were under the tuition of some guy who was showing them how to use starting chocks and how to get out of them in a race, on a track race, which I've never done, but I've obviously seen it 1,000 times, like anyone who's watched athletics. So I deferred to let that. I asked the guy, I said, have you bought the track? Or, can I still use it? He went, oh, yeah, of course. So I was sharing the track with them, but after about 5K, I thought, oh, that's enough. I just couldn't do any more. On the Garmin watch, by the way, you can set track run, and then you can even tell it what lane you're in. So it's a 4-lane track, it's 400 metres, and I said I was in lane number 4, i.e. the outside lane. So I think that's like 420 metres, but I did notice at the end of when it was calculating, it was just doing 400 metres. So I might have to speak to my partner, because she's much more of an expert about track running, because when we go track running every week in England, she always uses track run. And I would have thought if you're in track like number 4, in fact in England I think we've got 6 lanes. So if you're in lane number 6, you're doing, significantly greater distance by at least 10%. So I'm going to ask her about that, because I was a bit cross that every lap I did, it said it was 400 metres. I thought, what's the point? So anyway, I did that, and after that, I was just whacked. I've already had about 3, after each exercise, I tend to have a shower. So I've had multiple showers today. It's been absolute heaven, because there's, unlike in the UK where we don't have much hot water, I can have a shower for as long as I like, with as much hot water as I like. And it's been absolute heaven. So I've had lots and lots of showers. I am now physically totally spent. We did spend the evening after all the exercise trying to get our clothes washed, and there are 4 commercial washing machines here, and 3 of them have broken down. So there's a queue of people thinking, how do I get my washing done? Because in the apartments, even in the fancy apartment like the one that we're hiring, there is no washing machine. The only washing machines on site are these 4 washing machines, and I think it is 3 or 4 dryers. You don't really need the dryers because it's so warm. You can just put stuff out on the balcony. But you do need a washer. So we had to queue a bit for the washing machine. So eventually we did that and had dinner. And now it's a record early breaking 10 o'clock, and I am definitely going to bed. Thanks for watching this report. We will see you on the Friday.